What if a teenage girl could lead an army, turn the tide of a brutal war, and change the fate of an entire nation? It sounds like a fantasy, but it's the incredible story of Joan of Arc. Joan was born in 1412 in a small French village. Life was tough and the country was in turmoil. England and France had been fighting a bitter war for over 100 years, and the English were winning. Joan grew up hearing stories of French knights and their victories long ago. She wanted to be a warrior, but girls weren't allowed to be soldiers. They were expected to get married and have babies. When Joan was 13, she began hearing voices that changed everything. She said that God, along with Saint Michael, Saint Catherine, and Saint Margaret, had come to tell her that she was chosen to save France. Joan was convinced that she had a mission from God. She knew she had to do something, but what? At the time, the royal family in France was in big trouble. The king's son had been captured by the English, and the country was being pushed closer to giving up. Joan decided to go to the royal court and tell the king's advisors about her divine mission, but they didn't believe her. Joan was just a poor peasant girl after all. Determined to make a difference, Joan set out to find the Dauphin, the future King Charles VII. Along the way, she met a man named Robert de Baudricourt, who became her first champion. He helped her get an audience with the Dauphin, but he didn't believe Joan's story either. Still, he admired her bravery and determination and eventually agreed to let her join his army. With the help of some loyal knights, Joan disguised herself as a man and joined the troops. Her mission was to lift the siege of Orléans, a city under attack by the English. When the soldiers heard Joan speaking to them with confidence about victory, they began to believe in her and their mission, and amazingly, they followed her into battle. On April 1429, Joan led the French army against the English. She rode a white horse, wearing a sword, a shield, and a helmet, and most notably, a beautiful flowing gown. Underneath her armor, she wore a golden necklace with a large cross. As the sun shone through the mist, it seemed as though Joan was glowing with a heavenly light. To the soldiers around her, it looked like God himself had come to help them. The French attacked, and within hours defeated the English, who fled the city. Joan's presence had given them new hope and strength. After lifting the siege of Orléans, Joan led the French to several other victories. Finally, on July 16, 1430, Charles VII was crowned king with Joan at his side. But Joan's enemies were watching her closely. In September 1430, while traveling to a town in northern France, she was captured by the Burgundians and sold to the English. They took her to Rouen and put her on trial for heresy. Joan was only 19 years old and had no experience in the ways of the church. She didn't know how to defend herself, but that didn't stop her from standing up for what she believed in. She said that she had done nothing wrong. She had heard the voices of the saints and followed their guidance. But the English wanted to win the war, and Joan was a threat to their plans. On May 30th, 1431, she was found guilty and sentenced to death. 5 days later, Joan was taken outside the city walls to be burned at the stake. As the flames rose around her, she cried out, "Jesus, help me!" Then she died. For centuries, people debated whether Joan of Arc was a heretic or a saint. Finally, in 1920, she was officially made a saint by the Roman Catholic Church. Joan of Arc was a peasant girl who dared to dream of being a warrior. She heard the call of her country and the voices of God and followed them to the end. Her story continues to inspire us today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.